25 years of off-road racing dominance. Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. King Shocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
KMC's pursuit of victory has pushed us to the front of the pack, to the brink of destruction, and across the finish line for decades. Regardless of the driver, the vehicle, or the terrain, these are the wheels that will help you win by a landslide. The process of relentlessly redefining performance cannot be learned or taught. It's in our DNA.
Your locally owned Bill Alexander Ford has the vehicles you want. F-Series, Bronco, Expedition, Edge, Explorer, Escape, and Ranger. And try our mobile service for light maintenance. We will come to you. For a difference you can count on, visit us in person or go to BillAlexanderFord.com.
Yeah, what's up, people? Welcome to this episode of Fishgistics. That's Austin Fish Farner show that we're talking about, and we're here to bring you the Baja 1000 course preview show. Really quickly, let's introduce Austin Farner, who is Fish, aka Fish. Fish, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for coming, Cameron, like always.
For sure. First, before we get started, congratulations to Fish and for his success with Fishgistics. He recently won. He was the honoree for the media category at the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that, bud. It's like almost like grown-up stuff.
Yeah. Oh, thanks to all you guys. This wouldn't have been possible without any of you guys doing all this stuff. So I'm just happy that everyone is stoked on what we're doing.
I am as well, and I'm stoked for you to get some accolades there. I think it's well deserved, Fish. Fishgistics will be bringing you content today about the Baja 1000, the 55th running of this granddaddy of all off-road racing. Of course, this is all opinion-based. You can't race your race based on what we're saying, but you can take some of that data on and try to make sense of it. But of course, do all your own recon, research, and pre-running. I'd like to introduce the rest of our esteemed board of characters here today from Jackson Motorsports Group. And representing BF Goodrich Tires, Nate Hunt. Welcome, Nate.
Hey, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. And by the way, Fish, congrats. I thought it was really sweet what you had to say about Cameron and your acceptance speech. Made me all warm and fuzzy inside.
He's kind of cool sometimes, I guess, when he's not being a donkey.
I was very appreciative of it also. Unfortunately, I'd stepped out of the room for a minute and I missed that part, but super stoked for everything that's coming Fishgistics way. Also on our board today, one of the legendary off-road racers, someone who's won in the trophy truck category and been a big figure in our sport recently, Justin Lofton, number 41 from the Abeef Racing Truck. Welcome aboard, Justin.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Excited to have been asked to do the Baja 1000 preview show, and want to reiterate, Fish, congratulations on your award. You definitely deserve it, and looking forward to everything that's coming in the future.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you could be here.
Right on, you guys. So what we're going to be talking about is going to be the race course itself, some of the layout, some of the planning, and what went into it. Nate, of course, from Jackson Motorsports and BF Goodrich, he lays out the course along with a group of others, including Jose G from SCORE. They work very hard at producing a course. And if you missed it, we did a show on safety and communications about 8 days ago. I don't remember exactly. That show is live on Fishgistics, YouTube, and on Facebook. If you want to go through that, I think there's an incredible amount of information. I would say watch it twice because there's just a whole bunch of good data there. This show is not about who's going to win, even though we'll probably talk about that at the end of the show. This show is about the race course itself. And we're going to talk about 828.3 miles. Is that correct, Nate? Is that the number?
Ugh, testing me already.
Well, you're the guy with the course info. I'm just the donkey that races around it as fast as I can.
828.31 or 828.25, depends on which version you got. I know there was some changes. Hopefully you guys all saw that. There was a 3 mile difference. Obviously, we're not maybe not obviously, but we didn't change the overall total mileage, or score didn't. But there was a 3 mile variance in the change, so I'm sure we'll go over that. But yeah, basically 828 miles.
Right on. And this is a traditionally what's known as a loop race. The Baja 1000 has a couple different versions. I'd say there's 3 different looks of the Baja 1000. One is the granddaddy of all off-road races, where you race the entire peninsula or to La Paz, which used to be basically the entire road. Then there's a kind of a more of a 1/3 of the way down, where you head towards Chapala or Bay of LA area, somewhere down there. And this is what I would call the traditional loop race, still the granddaddy of all off-road races, but this is more northern based, which technically speaking makes it a little bit easier for the teams to race. It should be a little bit less cost. But as I'm sure Justin can attest to, there's nothing inexpensive about racing the Baja 1000.
No, there by far is not anything. Just off-road racing in general.
For sure. It's amazing. I saw Dominic Clark's email blast from Score today. There are 38 trophy trucks. That includes the Legends trucks, which I believe there's 5 of them. But that's a pretty incredible field of unlimited vehicles when you start to think about each truck is valued somewhere between $400,000 and $1.2 million. That's a lot of hardware out on the racetrack. And that doesn't include the other classes, which I believe there's 27 other classes. Again, all opinion based. I'm kind of winging it, bringing it out of left field. But there's a lot of different classes represented here at the Baja 1000. Everybody races, for the most part, the same course. There are a couple of sportsmen and limited class shortcuts, motorcycle and sportsman car shortcuts that we will talk about. But let's first kick it off with the traditional start in Ensenada. The GPS files that are out do not contain the start area, so we're going to show you the map. There is no pre-running, Nate. Am I correct? Both anywhere on the outbound or inbound from Ojos Negros, correct?
Yeah, correct. You need to start in Ojos Negros, where you jump on the road at K39. So don't go left into Ojos. Make sure you're staying on the right side, pre-running. And yeah, it's definitely, we have this in our map because it doesn't technically get released until race week. But yeah, the start and finish, and again, this is only from start out to Ojos. I believe it opens, is it Wednesday next week? And you can only, yeah, and you can only pre-run it from Ensenada to Ojos. Don't go backwards on it. Never go backwards on the race course, and never run that the way that it's not open. So dangerous. Yeah. Please, everybody, pay attention. And I bring that up just because a couple races ago they tried doing a finish back to, or from Ojos back into Ensenada, but they're not doing that anymore. So it's only Ensenada to Ojos. Okay, so that will not be open until the very end of the week, correct, Nate? Correct. Okay, so we're talking about from race mile basically 35-ish, 37. Is that right? Yeah, I don't know the exact. Something like that. Okay, again, it's not exact, but the outbound leaving Ojos Negros and going to what's known traditionally as kilometer 77. This is the same race course that we just raced at the Baja 400, correct?
And I did just check on the pre-running. So like you said, Wednesday, it opens Wednesday to be able to pre-run that start section outbound only. You cannot run back in. Wednesday and Thursday, it is also open. So Wednesday and Thursday are the 2 days you can run out from Ensenada to Ojos. One direction only
Correct. On the outbound. Correct. The race course from the start to K77, I don't know. I haven't seen it since the Baja 400, but it's pretty traditional. We're going to leave out through, that's a speed zone when you leave Ojos Negros nowadays, past the old traditional jump. And once you make that left that has been missed by a few people over the years, you'll get out of the speed zone. if that's what that is, right? Is that end speed zone? I
Yes,
can
end
see
speed
there.
zone right there.
Justin, how about this section of the race course? It's straight with some big rollers. It's a lot of fun with the big horsepower.
Yeah, it is. It's even though we've been cut back a little bit on how fast we can or how big a run we get at the jumps with a big horsepower, we still end up doing somewhere between 100 and 120 by the time we exit through the fence down there just after all the where all the spectators are at.
And worth noting that fence exit at the end always seems skinnier and skinnier the faster you're going, right? The cattle guard sitting there, it looks very ominous as you leave out into what is known as some of the ranches of Ojos Negros. And of course, this is heading towards the Tres Hermanos area. A number of years ago, SCORE started getting us off of the main road, which is pretty cool. You can see that we're using much of the same, all the same race course, zigzagging around in there. It's interesting because of all the up and down and over the hills, Justin. I know in the big trucks with the hood, it's always kind of interesting. You can't quite see what's coming right over the rise, even though we get the pre-run, and I'm sure it's the same for all the classes.
Yeah, it definitely the trucks definitely add a challenge to it with the hoods, and then it seems like for this race, a lot of us will probably start with our top light bars on, so our visibility continues to just get constrained even more. And I that's probably the difference in, say, you and I, Cameron, versus some of those younger kids out there now that like to fly those blind rises and maybe don't have quite the experience to know how to get a truck to get to the finish line, but they definitely sure make it exciting.
They do make it exciting, and as long as no one gets hurt, it's always fun to watch. But you can't win if you don't finish. I know it's cliche, but if you're not at the checkered flag, you can't take home the trophies. That's going to take us down through the Tres Hermanos area. Nate, when you were out there after the Baja 400, does it look pretty much the same? All the race course there, no big changes, no big surprises as we go out to K77?
No, just your typical race wear. But yeah, it's all pretty much the same all the way out to K77.
All right, well, let's jump ahead to K77. Remember, there's a lot of trees on the side of the race course out there. You guys be careful. Big rocks hidden in the bushes, something to think about. For those of you in that first section, there's plenty of gotchas and terrain changes. It definitely does some up and over some more barren hills. And then it starts to get rocky, then it starts to get more trees, and it starts to get full of big rocks. So please, very careful. As we get to K77, the reason why we call it that is because it's at kilometer 77 on Highway 3. We'll actually jump on the highway for a short distance there. And we're going to take a little bit of a different route as you leave what's traditionally, at least for us, known as the Honda House, which is one of the Salon de Socials, right there on the side of the highway there. Justin, have you been through that part of the race course where it turns right next to that barbed wire yet?
Yeah, I have.
Changed too.
Let's see from where.
So is this one of the changes, Nate, that
Yes.
you're talking about?
Yeah, we were going up like we did at the 400 and turning right, but we changed it. Well, SCORE changed it to basically, like you said, go by the Honda House there. Pretty much immediately after you jump off road, you make a right.
So
Yeah,
But then it joins back up with what we did at the 400.
right. So the current race course, you leave the highway, the speed zone ends, and you make a right turn at the barbed wire fence. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And so the green is what we're seeing as that's one of the three changes that you were talking about.
Correct. The green is the new way to go. That is the direction you want to go.
Copy. All right. So there's one of the big notes that we'll talk about. That's going to take us into what I call like a Scrabble of race course, because it is back and forth, zigzaggy, changes terrain. There's a lot of actually more uphill sand wash than I expected in there. Of course, there's been a lot of water running out there, so watch for rain ruts. And the edges of the race course have some very sharp things that you don't want to run into. Is that fair to say, Justin?
That's very fair to say. I mean, when I went pre-running the first Saturday it opened, we were definitely one of the first 3 to 5 vehicles on it, and it definitely looked much different than it did just a couple months ago. And the growth has just exploded down there. And yeah, I'm hoping it's getting a little burnt in for next week when we head back down, but definitely looks completely different than it did.
It was actually, in some places, we'll talk about it more, it was hard to pre-run. So I'm trying to get my bearing. I see we're going to go up and do some zigzagging.
Race mile 75 is right here in the middle.
There we go. Mile 75. I couldn't see that. That's up one of those washes I was talking about, uphill wash. And some of it we do run on Baja 400 course, and some of it we don't. Some of it changes as we head up towards the summit. Keep taking a look here. You can see this hard ride up here. It's going to take us back down towards the area of Independencia, although we're not going to quite get there. And this is where I was talking about a lot of the zigzag, scrabble, different roads, VCPs, a bunch of different terrain changes. There was one gate that I noticed. Make sure it kind of comes up quick on you. Make sure you guys are paying attention to what you're doing. This takes us around this small volcano and back up into the wash. And we're starting to, this is VCP 50 turns us on to what has been a road that we race on, and it drops down into the wash, which I haven't been down in the wash there, but there is a ton of water damage right here. When we were pre-running, we really noticed quite a bit of stuff. You guys probably had to work your way around to make sure you could get in there, but then the wash seems pretty open, Nate.
Did you do this section, Justin?
Yeah, I did. And the wash was really, you sure don't want to miss the exit into the wash, because if you try to go up a couple, a quarter mile or so and make a left, you're going to go off about a 12-foot drop. So that the exit comes up quick on you, but when you get down in the wash, it's a lot of fun. There is some areas where the rain has washed, trees and rocks around, and you just kind of drive around them. But, I've been working try to work that wash to get to that right-hand corner for the last couple of years now. And we finally get dropped in it, except now we make a left.
You can go back to, and what Justin's talking about, you guys, I think we should point this out, where you turn off the road right there, Fish, go back up. You just went past it, up a little bit higher. No, further up, you're going up this semi road. And it cuts off to the left right here. This left cutoff is really veiled. There's like a big bush there, and it doesn't really look like the right track, but it is. And what Justin's saying is, if you go past that and try to turn down to the wash, there's a huge drop off, and you don't want to do that. You want to go down where the race course goes down into that wash. That's what you're saying, Justin, right? You looked at that there. Yeah. Yeah, we used to run down in this wash many years ago. It's cool to be back down in there, and that's going to start taking you up. Sorry, I don't remember the name of the rancho that we're going to race up towards, but we're going to start running up towards the Los Pinos summit.
Now, just looking at this right here, this looks like a VCP that a lot of people might miss, right? This 52, because a bunch of people are probably going to jump on this road and just go right here, right? So you've got to really make sure you hit 52, huh?
That road,
an awkward transition, but it's what it is.
It is awkward, but I'll tell you that there's a bunch of washouts in there, both to the left and right. So be very careful. And I do think it's going to be a little bit, if my memory serves, that's a tricky left turn up out of to where that VCP is, right?
Yes. Yep. And even getting out of the wash now with the rain damage looks way different than it did a couple months ago when we were down there. So it's another one. You don't want to miss it, because if not, you got to go all the way up past it, and then the wash starts to get a little narrow on you.
For sure. Following the race course up, it's basically on one of the local roads. Of course, we say this all the time, watch out for traffic, be courteous. You're pre-running, not pre-racing. People live out here, ranchers are working out here, livestock is on the course, so pay attention. So then we're getting up to the top of the summit. This is actually already over the top? I believe it is, yes.
Mile 95, yeah.
Yeah, this is where you start getting down into, there's a couple ranchos in there. It's a tricky section. I mean, the rock is a little bit more exposed now at the top there, Justin, right? I mean, it's not super gnarly, but it's a little bit more craggly than it was.
It definitely is. And you start seeing the effects of the rain from a couple weeks ago, that the dirt has just been washed away from all the rocks. So everything's a lot more exposed. There is quite a bit of cattle out there. All throughout the course, and definitely up in that area. We came across a couple of the local ranchers, out working and driving down the road. So somewhere you definitely want to be conscious that there are going to be oncoming locals at you.
For sure. And that's going to take us into the meat and potatoes of what we're calling the summit here. This is a tricky spot on the racetrack. I would caution everybody to make sure that you're taking it easy, making good decisions, and be aware that there's a sheer drop off, at least on one side, quite a bit of the time. Justin, how tight was getting past that one giant rock?
Oh, it's gotten even tighter than it has been. It's everything seems really tight in a pre-runner. For some reason, when you put your blinders on with your helmet, the course seems to widen out a little bit, or you just continue to smash over things a lot harder. But the road, there are definitely numerous sections that the course has been washed away, that someone has gone in and piled rocks back on. They've done a little bit of tractor work on it, but I would say it's another 10 to 15% narrower than it was the last time we went down it.
And the one rock I'm talking about, I went down in my trophy truck pre-runner, and I felt like I was on that crown, on that edge, man. It was, for me, I don't like exposure, so I get nervous maybe more than other people. I'm willing to admit that I'm a scaredy cat a little bit. But yeah, just really be cautious in there. And like Justin was saying, and I was saying, the dirt seems to, like, where there was a little bit of buffer of dirt is all seems to be gone. It's just rock, and it feels like there's a lot of traction and kind of weird edges to drive over. But this entire summit section is really tricky. Be smart. Get down through the rancho at the bottom. It starts getting even more rocky on the open part of it. There are some, I wouldn't say there's any real tricky stuff. I think the turns down by that rancho there, is that race mile
100 is right here.
Yeah, is that where that little rancho is down there?
A couple abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole area just seemed to get a lot more exposed than it was. And there are definitely some fallen rocks, and I don't know, there was a rainstorm down there over the weekend. So I don't know if it continued to wash any more away or exposed any more rock.
Well, that's the thing about off-road racing, is it's ever changing, right, Justin? So we're going to have to deal with it. Oh, that wasn't it. We weren't there yet. That's the one climb I don't like right there. And then there's another abandoned car on this hill. Then we're going to be dropping down. We're going to get down to some of that other steep stuff at the bottom we were talking about. But the summit has a number of different looks and a number of different tight spots. This is where I was talking about, down here where this rancho is, right here at the very bottom, right in the middle of the screen now.
PPP 57.
Yep. So that gets you out of the steep stuff and starts climbing back out, and you're going to go over another small pass. More rocks. Would you be surprised if we told you that? As you get on top of this mesa here, and it's a pretty interesting race course up there. I would say there's a couple different lines that kind of split off, but the bottom line is they're all full of rocks.
They're all full of rocks.
Big, red, ugly rocks. Be careful. Even right down the race line where there's planted rocks, it's certainly not very friendly. This is going to drop you down. This is going to be one of the first times for those of you that haven't been there yet, or don't spend a lot of time in Baja when there's a lot of washes that are open. And I don't mean open to run anywhere you want, but I mean the bushes are gone. The delineation of the lines are gone. The routes that were there are no longer existing. So, just pay attention. That it's very different. And when I was pre-running recently, I felt like I was on the moon a little bit, and it's a little bit hard not to get your bearings, but to decide how you're going to run it, right, Justin? Because you were saying you're one of the first 5 trucks. I was there 3 days ago, and I felt exactly the same. Like I was one of the first 20 vehicles through there, and it's just crazy how the washes are just cleaned off.
Yeah, we were following old race notes, and we would go and say we go out and go wide around this bush or that bush, which that bush isn't necessarily there now. And if we were right on our marks, there was no race course there anymore. There was no line there anymore. Everything is completely new, completely different. And it doesn't seem like, even if you went back up it, there is no real straight shot through the washes currently.
Yeah, actually, I will admit it's kind of frustrating, because you think you could maybe just straighten out a turn here or there, but there's rocks everywhere. It's going to be tricky. I think it's going to be a really tricky race. Immediately when you hear it's all been wiped off, you think, oh, we're going to be able to make the route straighter and better. But then you start to realize there's just so many obstacles.
When we were down there a month ago, when we first did this, it was the same way. It was like we thought we'd be able to find old trail to follow, and it really was just picking it from basically rock to rock, bush to bush. So I'm sure you guys have totally different lines than are actually out there when we did this originally. But we came in from the backside, and of course there was a lot of water on the lake bed at the time. So by the time we were able to find our way back to where we wanted to get, was already a struggle. But then going through that area, there was zero tracks, trails, nothing. You wouldn't know we ever raced through there before.
It's amazing how the desert cleans itself up and reclaims it. I know that sometimes people question us being out there, but the desert regenerates for sure. At Race Mile 120, that's known as Cahabuzo Junction, or that area. For those of us who've been racing down there a long time, we're going to cross this wash, which is pretty substantial and crazy. I actually stopped down there and did a big turnaround just to see the vast openness of that wash. It's just crazy to see how wide open it is, deleted of bushes that have been probably growing there for a decade.
Yeah, it took us an hour to find a way down that to get across it.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that line going from BCP 60 up to it, when I went across it, it was we did some donuts in the middle of the wash looking to see where you guys went. And there's a bush. You kind of went right underneath the bush, and it was like perfectly hidden. And but it was fun. It's an amazing wash.
From far away, right, Justin? From the middle of the wash where they went up, it looked like it was a sheer wall, right? Yeah. Underneath the tree in the shadow. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, is that where they went? And I had to get over there to see that that's actually where it went. So just be careful where you're going, everybody. That's going to take you, I would call it kind of high desert running. There have been a lot of lines changed here, but there's still a lot of the same. Remember, there's a lot of cross race course rain ruts and big washouts that have been existing prior to this rain. But this area is an interesting place to time or place to race and run. That gets you down more towards the lower desert as you start heading towards the Laguna Salada or the Saldana area. And you can see all the VCPs zigzagging in and out of there. There are some ranches and people working out there, so be careful. As you start heading south, this white silty area isn't quite the silty mess it has been in the past. It's actually, obviously, the rain has tightened that all up. This is where we're running around the Laguna Salada, the Saldana. In the past, in different races, we have raced across the Laguna Salada on the bottom here, but we're running around the edges and to follow the VCPs there, of course. This will take you into close to the first pit. As you can see, BFG pit 1 is here. Now, I say first pit. I'm saying that's the first place BFG is. You guys are open to pit anywhere you want. There's rules about pitting and where you can pit and safety when it comes to pitting. So make sure you follow all of SCORE's rules. This is good.
I would say, have you guys gone in and fixed the entrance off of the highway into that area?
Yeah. So maybe.
We were just there and it had not been fixed, but that was 2.5 days ago now.
So our friends at Pete's Camp went up and talked to the road crew. I believe you guys saw the road crew up there, Cameron.
Yes.
So our buddies from Pete's Camp, the Navarro family, went up there and talked to those guys, and we're going to try to influence them a little bit to kind of buff that exit off the highway down into that area, to kind of buff that out a little bit. So I think it's been fixed, but I'm not 100% sure yet. But the plan is to have it fixed by race time.
It's a cool place because it's right off the highway, but remember, be careful. There'll be a lot of local spectators in this area coming down from Mexicali. So make sure everybody's paying attention and understanding there could be traffic. There could be traffic anywhere on the race course, but this area will have a high concentration of fans and pits. Leaving BFG 1 here as we get to race mile 160, it's hard to see where to go. There's a lot of rain damage. There's a lot of rain ruts. There's a lot of wash changing and damage there. It's kind of a cool part of the race course where you turn right here, Justin, and get up into the sand. It's kind of a fun little zone.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun through there, but same thing. It's just it's kind of been washed away, and that is one area that there is a pretty clean slate, of line you want to take.
I wanted to mention one of the most dangerous things that I saw on my pre-run right here at this VCP. What is this VCP in the top middle here?
77.
So just after that, headed towards this race mile 165. It looked like a lot of people were staying up high, and the race course, I believe, is marked to the right. The return course here. Just be very careful. We came across a ditch that was probably 8 feet across and 4 feet down, and the tracks ran right into it.
Yeah, the double jump that's sitting out there. There's like a kind of a roller section that we came up on really quick, and I think it was kind of right around that 165 mark that would definitely put you, it would end your day pretty quickly.
Yeah, just before 165, it looks like there's a road or a wash that comes down from the hill back a little bit somewhere in there, and I'll tell you, experienced racer, guy that was looking out for something because we hadn't been there looking out for washes. We smashed our valance into that in the trophy truck pre-runner. And so I'm just calling caution to everybody, caution everywhere. You're pre-running, you're not pre-racing. It caught me out and sounds like it caught you a little bit too, Justin. So please be very careful there. That's going to take you around and start heading you south. This is some of the stuff I really think is fun. I enjoy this. It's been changed a ton. There was lots of grass, not a lot of tracks as you come across the white dirt. Then you start getting into the red rock. We've raced this a bunch of times. This is going to be totally different from any time you have ever raced it. So beware that the courses have disappeared, the rocks have moved, and the challenge is real. This is going to bring you down into the area known as El Chinero, race mile 190. And this has a scraggly mess of rocks everywhere, doesn't it, Justin? It's kind of
they're all just kind of sitting up on top.
Yeah, as soon as you make the right, it's just like, whoa, what happened right here?
Yeah. And then all the whoops that were there have now just got a little bit deeper and almost like they're a little closer together. And it's a pretty rough section, that runs you down to what would be race mile 200.
Yeah, this is going to cross Highway 3.
Actually, Cameron and Justin, what do you guys think average speed is going to be to race mile 200? How long do you guys think it's going to take the trophy trucks to get there?
Ooh,
that was one of our user questions.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking somewhere in the 5-hour range, just with the speed zones getting out of the start and stuff.
Okay.
I think that you can look for averages under 50 for sure.
And so you're probably going to be right around here around sunset, or maybe a little bit farther past.
I think 5 hours.
It's going to be just before. It'll be about an hour and a half or so before.
Yeah.
So
It's 3 p.m. if they start at 10.
Yeah.
We were thinking somewhere in the 2:15 to 2:30 time frame.
Okay.
But don't count on me. Remember, it's all opinion. I'm kind of pulling it out of my head from what we talked about.
There's just a couple of questions people are asking in the chat.
Yeah. It'll still be daylight for the trophies there is what I'm seeing. This takes you down through the traditional 3 poles area. Were you going to say something, Nate? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it depends on who's going to be the hero to bottleneck the summit too. So don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Because my money's on a spec truck.
Yeah, it'll be a lot easier than what it was even at the last race, just because of how tight it's gotten, and we've seen a lot of course deterioration that way.
This 3 poles area is always kind of interesting place to race. Is just pay attention as you get down along the highway here. I did notice that it was a little bit harder than I thought to make sure I hit that VCP, even though I was trying to stay right on the race course. So
now, Cameron, on the VCPs, what is the perimeter again? Somebody did ask that. How far do you have to be? How close do you have to get to the VCPs?
120 feet, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Justin? 120?
I don't know. I think you were like 130 at the last race. Yeah, it's basically from center point. The idea is 60 feet in either direction. 100 to 120 feet in, I guess, circumference.
Okay, you can only be 60 feet off to the side of it.
Yeah. At
So-
least that's what we play it by. We seem to hit it, but
What do you think, Nate?
Oh, I wanted to see Justin and Cam talk more smack about last race.
hey, it was good. It was fun.
It was fun. I mean, we were racing hard towards the front of the pack, and Justin had a pit, so he was just coming out of the pit, and we just kind of snuck up on him and went for it. It was fun. It was a fun battle. It was definitely dicey because of the VCP. The VCPs that were all there. I think there was like 5 or 6 VCPs in a short amount of time, and making sure you hit every single one of them was definitely a crapshoot.
Yeah, it was.
This
We
would
were
probably
doing
be a
that
good
at
time
80 to
to
100
point
miles
out the starting order, right? Where are you starting, Justin?
I think we should be leaving the line about 8 to looking at the people that have teamed up together.
And where are you, Cameron?
6 or 7, I think.
So,
Yeah,
oh,
so
that's
we're-
7. That's right in front of Justin. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's looking for some retribution. That's okay. That's what we do. You guys be careful when you get down here into this whole area of San Felipe. The spectators are everywhere. We're going to get right alongside the highway in a speed zone. Be careful. You're going to head out into some of the traditional whoops in here. It's a little bit different to the left of what we normally run, but it's still whooped out and cross grain. Gets us onto the power line road. It takes us down across the Zoo Road or Morelia Road, whatever you want to call it. And that's interesting in there, Justin, how some of it, like you'll go for like 200 yards and there won't be a bump, and then all of a sudden all the bumps are back. It just like comes and goes.
Yeah, it's definitely what I heard. I got out, or I'm getting out at 200, so I didn't go down through San Felipe, but my prep guy Derek, who's actually driving this section of the course, said it was fast and smooth until it wasn't. Is about
Right.
what he said.
There's some surprising spots in there, so really please be careful. That's going to take you down near the dump, and we're going to run some of the traditional San Felipe stuff zigzagging around the outside of town, and we're going to get on what's known as Old Portecitas Road. This is the power line road that heads south out of town. Please, everybody, with caution, because you're going to be running that road a long time, and traditionally people, you just be careful out there. Watch out for
This is
traffic.
the, Sportsman
this-
cut.
Is this the Sportsman cut, Nate?
Yes.
Can you explain?
Yeah, I can try to explain it, but it's been changed a few different times. So, because there's one that's just for 4-wheel vehicles, and there's motorcycle. I don't. There's some odds. I'll have to look it up, but yeah,
I think this is the Sportsman motorcycle because it says SPTM. So I would assume that's Sportsman motorcycle at this spot.
not just Sportsman. I don't know. What does the next one say?
We'll have to look when we get
So
there.
down.
Jose G wasn't
that's-
able to make it. He had a last minute meeting, so Jose G wasn't able to make
Yeah.
it.
So
I
the
want to point out real quick before we move from there. There are people that will pit in these areas, right? Please understand this is live race course on what for some may seem like an access road. It is not an access road. You're not supposed to be on it. So if your pitting requires you to be out somewhere past that Sportsman course, don't get on that and don't go backwards on it for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we just had some clarification from
Yeah.
Brad Lovell and Cody Stewart. Both just said the first one is for cars, the second is for bikes. So there you
Right.
go. This will be the first
So
one
it's-
for cars.
It's in the race notes. If you have the race notes are posted on the score website. So yeah, that's what I just looked up. So yeah, the first one is 4-wheel Sportsman turn right at that first one, VCP 98. And then the next one is for the motorcycle and quad Sportsman.
And I'm sure this will be more delineated later on, but just heads up that those two courses come straight at each other to turn. I'm sure there will be crews there, but just be cognizant that there's 2 race courses intersecting there.
Here's the second one.
And here's this is
That's motorcycle and quad Sportsman cutoff.
There you go. So it's not too much farther. It's about 11 miles past the other one, it looks like, approximately.
so everybody that you're racing Sportsman, bikes, whatever you're racing, make sure you understand where your course goes. Don't be afraid to ask score officials for clarification, and make sure that you download the correct GPS notes. And also be aware that there's multiple different race courses intersecting. You need to know where you're going, but you also need to know where the other vehicles will be intersecting at your race course.
And
Yeah,
keep in
basically-
mind when you do the shortcut that you're going to be jumping ahead of people that aren't doing the shortcut. So if you're already having a long day and cars have passed you, you might actually jump back in front of those cars when you do this shortcut. So you really have to watch your mirror once you do the shortcut, because those same cars are going to be catching you again.
Yeah, basically that first one is as we've seen some of the videos through Matomi Wash that you'll get to. It's going to be really, really tough for a limited four-wheel vehicle to get through that section. So that first cutoff is for those four-wheel vehicles. That motorcycle and quad should be able to make it through a Sportsman, but that is a really rocky section through the Matomi Wash. Cam, did you guys run that yet or not?
We did. Let's go down and talk about some of these washes. So right now we're going past the motorcycle shortcut. That's going to take us down to speed zone near Matomi, depending on how you say it. You will get on the highway into speed zone. BFG 2 is there on the side of the highway. We saw the pit area where it was marked. That's going to take you into the Matomi Wash. Little tricky at first. There are good tracks, but again, the wash has really been opened up, and it's interesting because you can't really see a lot of the landmarks that used to be there. That's going to take you up through maybe a third of Matomi and out onto these yellow sand whoops. Caution out here. There are some changes to it. There are some spots that have been cleaned off. There are some spots that exist, but there are some square edges on the side of the race course you want to make sure that you're not running into, for sure. Be careful. Be safe out there. That brings us back up. That will bring us to what is known, if not mistaken, as a Zoufre wash. And Nate, again, the wash is just cleared off. It looks like a complete different planet when you get into those washes.
Yeah, it was really nice a month ago. I don't know what you guys have done to it since, but it was pretty cool to go through there and see how the water just changed everything. It was like almost like brand new course.
It seems like I mean, it is brand new course. There's some segments that you just really you can't believe that that's the same place that you race through so many different times. But that's going to take you up through a Zoufre wash. It tightens up. You get up over the top of it. It's going to head you into what I would call the back area of the Morelia Road. You get past race mile 320 or so, scooting out to the west, Austin. And that's going to take you out into some open areas down here. Now, I will caution you guys, of course, when you get on these straight roads, you want to haul ass. There's a couple of tricky rocks sticking in right and left, especially on this first road. So I just wanted to caution you, don't get in a hurry without knowing where you're going. Traditionally, there's some pits out here in the middle of nowhere. It looks like race mile 335. Wouldn't count on it, but that's way out there. That's a pretty big adventure to get out there. That's going to start taking us back into what Nate was talking about with the Matomi Wash. And there was at least 3 sections that were semi rock crawl. The very first one we got to, I would say, was the toughest. I don't know exactly what race mile it was, but I got out of the truck and walked it and looked. People had delineated where they thought you should go with rocks. We're on 40-inch tires, and we did not hit, but we had a couple lucky slides off a couple rocks to not hit the bottom of the truck. So I think that being smart is key here, and looking at what you're doing before you just do it. And that includes when you get into those big open parts of the wash, make sure you understand that there's rocks everywhere and there's ledges. Like we came up on like a 6-foot drop off. Somehow we weren't on, I mean, we thought we were right on it, but there was a big drop off in the middle of the race course. So, or next to the race course, just really, really be careful what you're doing. And Justin, I'm sure you can attest to the water damage and everything that you saw, that it's only amplified down in these washes here at the bottom.
Yeah, for sure. And Derek he told me about a couple stories that when he went pre-running his Can-Am, just kind of the same thing, not everything looking good. And then for some reason just hitting the brakes and there being a big drop on the other side. And I think he actually went off a couple of them and you know, just to try to make a line to be able to get up or get down. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. Some of the videos and pictures he was showing me of what's happened to the washes down there.
Yeah, I would recommend get out and walk it if you want to take a line different than the GPS line. Because it sucks having to back up and that stuff. One, if you're in a truck, especially, probably Can-Am or Polaris can probably be better. But it's definitely worth getting out and walking it if you think you can make it, because like you guys said, you get up there and then find out there's no way and you have to back all the way back down. So
Here, Justin sent me a video. Let me see if I can get this to play real quick. Hold on a second here. Where was this, Justin? This was
In Guadamote.
Guadamote. Okay. Hold on one second here. We'll show you guys. Let's see. Right here, this one. That looked like it. Bunch of rocks.
And as you can, you can't really see the trail.
There is no trail. I'll play one more time. Yeah, it's just rocks.
This is a spot we actually picked up a broken dirt bike rider here about 8 years ago. We were just talking about this while we were pre-running, Cody and I. Cody, who Fish was talking about, had information. That's my navigator. He's basically a know-it-all when it comes to Baja and courses. He should be on the show, not me, because he really knows what's going on. Maybe we should dial Cody in so we can get all the real information. But this open section, what Justin's saying is, you know, just because there's a track on it doesn't mean it's
good to go.
Clear. You know, we were following a couple tracks that led right to cliffs, you know, so I always try not to make a track to a cliff. But sometimes people do that and you just got to be wary of what's coming up. Don't just go hauling ass through it. Making the left turn here at 362. This is what I'm going to call, this is where that Sportsman cut came in.
Yeah, it's almost a U-turn, right?
Yeah, it's a 180 turn here for sure. It's a wraparound. Be careful. VCP right there. Lots of people probably in that area. Be careful. This is going to take you up into Chinate Wash, which I didn't see, but I'm assuming has a lot of the same things going on with the wash changes, ledges, rocks, etc. It takes you out to the back where you run along the Morelia Road. Nate, how does this look? Because traditionally, this has been some of the most pounded sections of the race course.
I think it's pretty wide open, actually. I think the water really did some pretty nice work there. Where we have our pit, where it crosses over Morelia Road, we've had a pit there a couple times during San Felipe races, and it generally takes, you know, some cleanup and you have some bushes and brush to kind of make lanes for you. And it's just pretty much wide open wash now. So yeah, that's definitely changed a lot since the last time we raced through there.
This is the area commonly known as Morelia Junction. You can see that the three roads come in together. One going back to the east, San Felipe, the one going south towards the Ejido Morelia, and the one going out to the west towards El Diablo Dry Lake, which we're racing along. You can see here that you jump off and start racing alongside of some of the stuff we've done more recently. Beware out there. There is more traffic than there has been over the years because they are working those farms out on the lake bed. It's almost like they knew it was going to be a rainy season. They've been out there for the last couple of years, not on that part of lake bed fish, down lower. But yeah, where you come around the sides, yeah, right in that area, some of those farms are actually active again now. So just beware of traffic. They can be on any road at any time. And then you can see the road going around the side of the lake bed. The lake bed is a lake bed,
wet
water in it. We are not racing there. We're going off to the side, and that will take us to some of this other fun wash stuff that we've been doing. As of late, there was a hard climb going the other way. I don't know that there will be one going this way. I don't know, Justin, if you saw any of that. But there is some small summiting going up and over both directions in here.
No, I didn't see it, but just knowing in the past going the other direction, it would have been tough. I don't see really being much of a challenge going the direction we're going for really any class.
How was the Raptor, Nate?
This section's fine. If you got this far, you'll be okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. If you haven't made a mistake by now, you probably know what you're doing mostly. That's going to take us up to back to the road crossing area where the southbound road crossing is. You're not going to cross Highway 3. You're going to turn left and run along Highway 3 in the washes here. This is beware of the ruts and the rocks. Obviously, I know I keep saying the same thing, but you can see by having the high hills on the top side of it that the water is running from top to bottom, and it's kind of settling down in the wash where the race course is in some cases. So just beware of changes. That will take you down to the junction where there's a power transformer down there somewhere nowadays. And you'll go right by the Ox Memorial and the Valle de Sol Road. And it's going to take you all the way up. We haven't done this in a little while, but we're going to go all the way up to San Matias Wash in the dirt, which is pretty cool. And we will cross the highway, I believe, instead of getting on it. That's correct, right, Nate?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
across the highway.
We're just crossing the highway.
And
Yeah,
Justin-
there's no checkpoint there this time. I think there was maybe last time, but yeah, just crossing the highway and getting in the wash and going.
Looks like there's a speed zone there, though.
Yeah, speed zone
Just
across the
as you
highway,
cross
37.
up over.
Okay. And Justin, have you been in this section of the race course?
I've driven alongside the road and had obviously Derek and my brother-in-law have talked to me about this wash going up it.
Copy.
So kind
This
of
is-
same thing, waters move things around. I think the fast line that we all used to take is probably not the preferred line anymore. I do know where you jump out of the wash a little farther up by 170 or 470, kind of right there. We all used to jump up on that flat road on the top, just actually right where 470 meets. Do not do that. It is a straight drop off. Stay on the race course there.
I think there was a bulletin about that too. Yeah, don't get
Yeah, this
get up
top
there.
road, this right road, everyone used to take this top road here, and then when you get to the end of it, you're not gonna have a
Yeah,
good day.
don't do that.
Yeah. Stay on the race course.
That's going to take you up through the end of San Matias Wash, where it terminates into, or well, crosses, but into San Matias. This is a small town. There is some services in the area. You can get some pretty interesting burritos, I should say, machaca burritos. My guys are just raving about them. It's up to you if you decide you want to do that.
It's right here.
Right there,
One,
yeah.
right there, that one.
There's actually two of them, I think. Some very nice people in that area. That's going to get you on the highway speed zone, and then speed zone all the way to Mike's Road. Correct, Justin?
Correct. Yep. And that's actually where I'll be getting back in the truck.
475.
And that's going to take us up the Mike's Road. How does that look after the rain? Does it look better, worse, the same?
So really, it looked like the last bit of rain that did all the damage to the San Felipe and even the Tres Pinos grade did not hit the Mike's area. So it actually looks better than it did at the last race.
Interesting. Strange
Hey,
how
Cam.
that happens.
Hey Cam, just a note real quick, and Justin, since you were talking about getting out to go across Mike's, just a reminder to all the teams, make sure you're pitting off to the right of the highway on Highway 3. Don't be doing anything on the left-hand side of the highway. Do everything on the right-hand side before you go across. I know there's probably gonna be a lot of pitting and drivers changes there. Just stay on the right.
Yeah, definitely smart there. And then one other note, when you do get up here, these VCPs with the letters, these are a much stricter VCP. You only get 40-foot radius. So you have to be within 20 feet of the side of these with the letters. So that's the difference between a number and a letter.
Correct.
And that's where we go on to
Section right there.
what's that?
So that section right there between BCP F to BCP 463, just from normal race wear has gotten pretty challenging.
That's what I would call the old road before they cut it. They're trying to keep you off the main road right there on the
Yeah,
Mike's.
the reason for the letters, it's really easy to hit that VCP if you stay on course. The reason for going to the letters is the 120 feet or whatever. You could technically stay up on the road and still hit the VCP. So that's the reason for the letters. It's not that hard to hit. You just got to get off and make sure you're in the right part of the course.
Yeah, they really want you to be at that spot of the course. So that's the best way for them to do it, basically.
Yeah.
So then this is the same all the way up to Mike's the rest of the way. There's a couple more spots.
There is this one VCP worth mentioning. Go back just a hair there. I think of one or two people that I know miss. No, right here. You go more towards Mike's, just a hair right there. There's a little carve out here to the side. They don't want you going over this blind hill without being able to see. So there's a carve out to the left, right. This is a short little jog, but I guess a few people missed that during the race. Nate, that's why they want you going there, right? So you're not going against a blind traffic.
Yeah, there's just trying to avoid a head-on.
Copy. So that's going to take us up to Mike's the same way we did it at the Baja 400 for those of you that raced. Off to the side just a little bit here through what we call the 6 Mile Junction. The reason why we call it that is because it's 6 miles for Mike's more or less by guessing. There's a couple different routes that come together there. So beware of traffic and spectators. And I'm just going to tell you all that the race course goes up to Mike's, but the people that stay at Mike's go up and down from Mike's. I personally have had a head-on this road before. It's not pretty. It's not something anybody wants to be involved in. Luckily for us, no one was injured. I've seen some other accidents on this road. So I would not let my guys go stay at Mike's and come down, generally speaking, with a course going like this, but anything's possible. There's tour operators, there's locals. This is a live road. All the race course is a live road, but this segment specifically, really, really be careful. There's all kinds of different traffic in here. Mike's Sky Rancho is a cool stop over there, race mile 495. This next section always makes my hair stand up on edge just a little bit, Justin, along the edge of the cliff there.
Yeah, it definitely will do that. And it's a short section, but with all the loose big rocks there, it definitely will make you do that. And surprisingly, this road isn't more deteriorated than it is. I actually think it's in better shape than it was from the 400.
Isn't that crazy, Nate? How that road perseveres and hangs in there and makes it. It seems like it's not an easy pass, but it's more than likely similar to what you've seen every time.
Yeah, it's in fact, if you do get Cody on here for a show, I'm sure he'll talk about having to come up there and give me a little help off the side of that cliff, because wasn't really paying attention, didn't realize how steep it was off on that side and how soft it is off on that side. And somebody may have had to drive an F-250 up there to give a yank, but
yeah,
he can tell that story if he wants to.
It happens to everybody, Nate. It's Baja, and she strikes back occasionally.
But I was still at the top of the cliff, thankfully.
Yeah, that's not a good place to not be at the top of the cliff, if you know what I'm saying. For those of you that haven't raced recently at the Baja 400, this VCP 164 is a hard left off of the main route towards El Coyote. Mm-hmm. This takes you up through the La Jolla Ranch. I had not been up here in a long time since before the Baja 400. There are a couple tricky turns and sections. This actually is in the vicinity of the old Mike's Sky Rancho runway, is what Jose G was talking about at the last show. Very tight. The bushes are taller than the vehicles. You can't see for a long time. It's just zigzag, 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 zigzag. This is where I believe the runway used to be as you run alongside of it here. I could be wrong. It's definitely not something you can land a plane on nowadays. It's a giant field of something. I could be wrong too. Maybe that's not it, but I was told it was up in that area. Anyway, continue on. That's going to take you up on another climb up and out of here. Did you see this recently, Justin, that no rain damage?
No rain damage
up and over these. I missed that turn during the race, by the way.
Which turn? Oh,
just that right turn right there. I missed that during the race. Yeah.
I think, both Alan and I missed that one as well. And we were off racing in the bushes together.
Yeah, we were trying to get it right there. And Cody's all hard right. I'm like,
okay. Too late.
Okay. I guess there was a right turn right there.
Yeah, I think a majority of us missed it.
Yeah. So I'm here to admit my mistakes as well. And that's going to take you through some interesting side washes, crossing over them. And then there is a climb. We can jump ahead a little bit. This climb here is interesting. And then the downhill into this Rancho La Jolla. Super nice people, always waving. It seems like everybody's in a great mood. Hey, beware, you're on their main ranch road in there. Like I said, all roads are live. This one right here has definitely got some traffic on it.
And they graded it from the Rancho to the Observatory Road. So they have maintained it, and obviously because that's their way in and out. So I'd say just be courteous that it is their road home.
Yeah, I was pre-running. I'm like, hey, this is, there's going to be a lot of traffic on this road. We popped onto the road, first corner, oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
This starts speed zone into the Observatory Road, or the San Pedro Martir Road, the national park on top of the mountain is up there. You're on this road for a bit. How far do you know, Nate, off the top of your head?
I don't, but I can look it up.
Looks like 10 miles.
Yeah.
You get on at 5:10, and then end of the speed zone's right over here around 5:20.
Okay, well, that's good, quick math there, Austin. You're doing
That
a
was an
great
easy
job.
one.
You used to
Multiple of
count.
10.
It's all that money you've been counting from Fishgistics, making big money, big money.
Yeah.
So this is Melling Ranch. Everybody, speed zone comes in and ends, but just be aware there's going to be, I would predict, a lot of traffic, lots of pits. This is the first place the west coast of the race course, or the race course, can be seen or accessed from the west coast for the most part once you're into the meat of the race course. Justin, you talked about this. This is different than the Baja 400 from Rancho Melling to about race mile 534. You said it's interesting and fun.
Yeah. Yep. It's just we make a left-hand turn instead of a right. We run up on the side of a mountain, and it's another little kind of mountain pass, but you're actually running up on top of the ridge once you get going instead of on the side of it. So it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as, say, if you had a mountain on the side of you, but it's a fun little section, something new, and glad it got thrown in.
Nate, have we been on that before, Nate?
I don't think so. I think that was one of the new sections they found. But I definitely hadn't been on it.
Okay, cool. This is going to bring us down to this Rancho. I believe this is about where we start intersecting from the Baja 400 course, or are we nearby there, Nate?
Yeah, VCP was at 170 is where you join back on.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. And that's going to continue on mountain section. There's a bit of ranchos in this area. Beware. More mountains, and more mountains. And more mountains. And then there's more mountains. And then there's some more mountains. And then your junction in down here to what we did race maybe 3 years ago, Baja 500 and 1000.
Different than the 400 is right there. VCP was at 174.
Oh, that's different than the 400?
That's where the 400 went to the right. We're going to the left.
Yeah, so we actually stay up on the road, like we've done in the past, where we'd make the hard right through the silt and then stay to the left of the wash.
Oh, gotcha. So we're going up on the hard road that we ran at, what was that, the 500 a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And that's pretty standard from what it's been. A couple of the corners you don't want to cut. There's definitely some rocks sitting inside, but for the most part, road's in good shape.
And as you can see, that if you zoom out a little, Fish, there's a lot of VCPs in this little section right here.
Oh, right here, a lot of them, yeah.
Make sure you guys are paying attention on the race course and hitting your BCPs and coming into some ranchos here. More mountains. We're coming out towards the coast. And this is the junction down into the road along the wash. You can see the speed zone.
This road is going to have a lot of traffic on it, pre-running, definitely, for sure.
Where can you zoom out so we can get a general idea of the area where we're at?
Yeah.
You can see running along the this is this the where we come out? I didn't pre-run this part. Is this near where we came out, the same spot we came out as the 400? We just got
same spot.
Yep.
Yeah. Copy. Back to the San Pedro Martir Road. Hey, everybody, listen. We talked about this is kind of some of the first access from the West Coast. You cannot send your teams up to Rancho Melling expecting them to beat you back to certain places. That is a giant, twisty, dangerous elevation road. You cannot haul ass on it. You should never be hauling ass anyway. But just really don't make a plan that has your team going up there and trying to catch you somewhere else, because that's what I would call dangerous mountains. All the roads in Baja are dangerous. This one's definitely a little hair raising. We'll get back on the race course that we ran from the Baja 400, correct, when we leave there?
Yeah,
Correct.
And this will take us out to Highway 1 for the first time. This is just north of the road to Shipwrecks, maybe about 9 miles south of Colonet. Is that right?
Just about.
And this is the infamous battle zone for the 41 and the 16, where all those 80 VCPs are.
Oh, is it right here?
Yeah.
Those VCPs, they've tightened those up to fit more of our race line than have them sitting way out at the corner. So
yeah, we when we did that, we basically stayed on the lines you guys were taking to try to make it a little bit less severe of turns.
yeah,
There was a lot of discussion about it, but yeah, we tried to make it a little more easy for you guys.
So Justin, are you going to be ahead of Cameron by this point, or are you waiting till this corner to make your pass?
you know, I'm gonna strike when the fire's hot.
I was gonna say, if you guys are still running 6th and 7th at this point,
We're doing pretty good though.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
I might just throw a rope out.
yeah, we're running together at this point, and I think it's good. We'll just keep running that way, and we'll get there for the podium.
a little
Yeah.
shake and bake
There
action.
we go.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for the fun, Justin.
Of course.
It's such a sketchy little zone with the speed zones. This spot right here, you guys, heads up, there'll be a lot of people out on the coast. This goes by an old kind of barn that's been repurposed. You get out on the Pacific Ocean, running into Cuatro Casas. There can be a ton of silt in that area, so heads up, everybody. Up through Colonet and speed zone going through the ranchos. And this is same as Baja 400 as you ran up the wash. Watch for the crossing roads in the wash. You can see a couple prominent roads across there. People live here and work here and have to use these roads. So don't just go up the wash hauling ass. Pay attention.
Look, there's literally a car on the Google map right
car on the
crossing the road going to the side. See?
Yeah. So everybody, can't stress it enough. Be safe and smart. Don't be the donkey. And don't risk other people's safety that aren't even in the race or in a race vehicle. Underneath Highway 1, I have not seen this wash since the 1000 or since the 400, but it was pretty amazingly cleaned off from the rains we had prior to that. We saw it since the big rain, so it's been pretty cleaned off. I don't know if more has changed recently with the rain that's there now. There's rain there now, if I'm not mistaken, right?
How was it, Justin?
It was pretty standard from the 400. Doesn't look like it's changed any. Definitely when you don't want to miss the corner coming up or going up out of the wash onto the side there, right where your marker's at. That's gotten a little bit siltier, obviously after the race, but nothing really to report in that section.
Then you go under the tunnel at
Before you-
Colonet.
I was gonna say, you want to talk about that new Sportsman cut?
Yeah, right here is the new Sportsman cut.
Okay.
And I believe that's just for motos and quads. Is that correct? Looking up it on
And does that go back? That goes up the highway all the way to the Llano, Colorado road, to the crossover road?
Yeah, I think they go on the side of the highway right here is the change, and then they're going to jump on the highway right up here instead.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's actually for everybody. That's 4-wheel and motorcycle and quad sportsman.
So they're not actually getting on the highway right here. I think because it's a little bit sketchy on this corner, probably. So they're going to
Alongside the
up
highway.
a little bit. Yeah.
And how far does that go up, Nate?
So they rejoin back at race mile 639, which is
About 34 miles.
yeah.
Yeah, so at the crossover road. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, they turn in at the crossover road.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify for everybody. Race through the mountains outside of Colonet, some good zigzagging through the agaves down to the coast road near the Johnson Ranch four-way. Of course, this looks different than it did at the 400.
So we're going back the way we were supposed to go at the 400.
Okay.
It's,
And off the side of the hill so we don't tear up the road.
Yep.
A nice silty hill with lots of rocks. And then into the rocks, if you guys saw my social a while back, this is where I knocked a drive shaft right out of the car. One hit, boom. I hadn't done that in 20 years. And drive shaft was laying in the race course behind me, pre-running. Chose a bad line. Anyway, this is all the red dirt, whoops, crap, typical, little ravine, crawl up, race down, zigzag back and forth through the ravines. Plenty of whoops, plenty of rocks. There's a place we call Flat Tire Alley in there that heads down towards the Bat Cave. Just be aware, it gets you up onto the Cerro Sola Road up through the canyon. And that's
VCP 218. That's where you get off of the 400 course. We're not doing that loop that we did at the 400.
Yep, we stayed to the left there, and
Correct.
we're going to stay on the right. This is going down to continue the Cerro Sola Road. You'll hit the big intersection left, and then you're going to go right over towards the Rancho Santa Marta Orphanage, which the off-road community has done a great job at supporting. Last year, over $475,000 for that orphanage. Thank you, everybody that's participating, including Justin Lofton, who's participated along the way, and Jackson Motorsports Group, Nate, and Fishgistics, and everybody. That's a great place for the kids. You'll be on the highway here, speed zone, going to take you back to the south, and you'll intersect what's known as traditionally the crossover road. You'll see that the Sportsman line's coming back in there. It's also known as the Llano Colorado Road. There's a Rancho Llano Colorado out there. It's also known as the Calentura Road. So it has a couple different names.
It's also known as the scariest road
In Baja.
in Baja.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
you're
just
pre-running,
ask Andy McMillan about it, right?
Yeah.
There is some areas where they're working on their water lines on that road, and they've got some pretty good sized holes dug right in the middle. So heads up around the corners. Obviously, they're not real good at the construction marker signs.
I'd say
And,
between Mike's Road and this road are the two scariest roads, I think, for pre-running, especially.
beware of oncoming traffic, both locals and people that might be trying to use it getting out to the coast. Race teams, when you're pre-running, I would stress not using it, but everybody's got their own decisions to make. Just try it. I would never go against opposing traffic. Never go against opposing traffic pre-running. For sure not racing, obviously, but I'm talking about during down days or pre-run days. This is BFG 5. This is what we call, I believe, the grassy knoll or grassy meadow. Is that correct, Nate?
It is very
well,
grassy
I don't know
right
what you call it, but yeah.
So yeah, this is a little bit different coming into it than I thought we were going to come into it. I was just looking at the map there. This is how we did it at another race that I didn't race, that Ryan Arciero drove the section.
So there was a new fence put up there. I think we had to go around it a different way, but
Okay. So BFG 5 is there. We missed where BFG 4 was. I'm sorry, Nate. We didn't point that out. Where was that?
Melling, up at Melling.
Okay, up at Melling. Sorry. So for those of you that don't know, BF Goodrich supplies pit support for teams that are on BF Goodrich tires, and you can sign up for that through Jackson Motorsports Group. Nate, is there an email still, or is that all full now?
No, actually, there's also a link on the SCORE website that you can click on and get registered. We'll register people on race day or on race week as well. So next Wednesday at Estero Beach, we'll have a pit meeting. People can come in there at Estero Beach and get signed up if they haven't already. And that's where we hand out the map books and GPS files and go over any latest and greatest news.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. That's very amazing what BF Goodrich and Jackson Motorsports Group team up with. This is I haven't been on this for a minute, but this is the side road, comes down into this junction. Speed zone starts here when you get to the ranch roads. This is a huge ranching community here at Valle Trinidad. You'll turn right and then left onto the main road and head out towards the main services that are there. There is gas and food.
There's very good tacos right up here too.
Yes, tacos, of course, one of our favorites.
On the left.
On the left, a little further down. There's also Pemex in the middle of town. And there is one up by the highway. The one down in the middle of town has a little bit more services, I think.
Might not even be on this map actually, because it's kind of new.
It says, yeah, it says the map's from 18, so it should be there. But anyway, on to Highway 1. I'm sorry, Highway 3. Sorry, it's been a long day already. I haven't even been pre-running today. On to Highway 3 northbound, and that's going to take you up the goat trail. Always pretty exciting. Beware, there's a ledge to your left and a big hole right when you come into it. And of course, you have to go around the rocks. How were the rocks, Justin?
They were pretty easy. I kept all the fenders on my pre-runner, so not too challenging.
Seemed like somebody may have moved a rock or two in that area, made it a little bit easier.
Copy.
Just saying.
Oh yeah, copy. There's been some changes, so to speak. This is going to take us up into the area outside of Hamul and Reforma, zigzagging a little bit. This is a newer section we had added about maybe 7 years ago. I kind of like it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun up there.
Yeah, I think there's a fun section up here. Remember, you guys, as you start racing along up here, there's a ton of ranchos and traffic and livestock, huge, massive rain ruts, washouts. Use your thinking cap. This is a place that
Lots of cattle, tons of cattle, and big drop-offs if you hit the drop-offs.
And when you see a danger mark on the score file, you know it's probably pretty big because there's not a whole ton of them.
Yeah, there was one early in the race course that we didn't talk about, but the course delineates to the side of this giant washout. They're everywhere. You can't talk about every single one. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of dangers. This is the small town of Reforma. Be cautious coming into town. We're going to jump on the highway 3 headed back towards Independencia. Is this a lot of the reverse direction of the 400, Nate?
Yeah. Yes. Basically all the way to like VCP 245.
Okay. Cool. It's a fun section around the outside of the ranches. Just caution how, do what you do. The courses kind of come close together there, but not really. It's more of an optical illusion, I'm sure, but there shouldn't be anybody on the outbound at that
I was
point.
going to say, at that point in the day, should be well clear.
And this is going to change. This is different than what we did at the Baja 400. And I think it's been two years at the 500. The last time we were on this El Alamo road. Is that correct, Nate?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So this is the road out to El Alamo. You can see it. I
Super
haven't
fast.
seen it. How's the condition of that right now?
Super fast.
Yeah, there's a couple of the where the cement cross grains are, washes are, that are a little washed out, or there was still a little bit of water on it, but nothing. Same thing, just local traffic. When we went pre-running, there was cars going both directions on it.
Yeah, it goes down to El Alamo. So there is definitely people coming out of there every single day because that is a town there. So be real careful because you're going at the town.
And this is a traditional mining area that's been active on and off for centuries, really. I mean, this whole area, one of the pillars of the Californias and gold extraction was just outside of Ojos Negros and El Alamo. For those of you that don't know that, so there's a lot of action that's happened here over the years. This can be a tight, kind of crazy route, Justin, and the water damage can be substantial all of a sudden on some of those over rises.
Yeah, and then down in the canyons, just the same thing. Dirt's been washed away, more rocks exposed, and narrowed up the canyons a little bit. But same thing, pretty basic for off-road racing. Just protect your drive lines.
Was there anything in this section that jumped out at you, Justin, between like 740 and 745 here? Is it just all back and forth? It looks pretty tight.
Just tight, slow, and it's going to be, it's obviously going to be in the middle of the night for a lot of us. So, make sure you have your caffeine pills or whatever you need to stay awake, because you don't want to get stuck down in there, because your crew it'll take them a long, long time to get you.
Now, this looks like a little bit of a different turn as you head towards Tres Hermanos, this loop. Is this the one we did a few years ago, Nate, that skirts the outside of the Tres Hermanos area?
Yeah,
And
it's
comes
just,
back around.
yeah, it's just on the outside and goes around the back.
Copy. Been a couple years since I've been down in there, but Nate, or it's Nate or Justin, it looks pretty similar with like the rock exposure you're talking about, stuff like that.
Yeah. Nothing, you can't get going fast enough for anything to really turn into a danger. You just, like I said, want to watch your drive lines, watch your front end, and don't blow any power steering pumps back in there.
Right. Danger I see here. What section is this? A climb? It looks like a bit of a climb out, Justin.
Yeah, that's where I guess the road that would go into Europan through that wash, you make a left and you can jump up on the road right where your marker is there. You make the right and you start climbing up those hills, and just tight and slow through there, but nothing too challenging.
So we actually get out into the outskirts of Europan. I don't know that I've seen it routed this way, especially recently. And then it connects back to some of the more traditional race course coming inbound from Orphanage is actually, I think, how they say it properly. But yeah, this climb is, I remember when they first did it, I was like, wow, I wonder what that climb's gonna look like, but it wasn't that gnarly.
No, definitely not. Just a tight road up top. They've got some switchbacks in it. I know our all-wheel drive trucks don't like them, so they're usually 2 or 3 point turns for us.
Copy that. That's going to start taking you back towards traditional finishing area, bringing you into the outskirts of Ojos Negros. Is this similar after that section, Nate, to Baja 400?
Yeah, basically at 257, VCP 257 is where we get back onto basically the same thing that we did at the 400.
Okay. Copy that.
All the way to race mile 785.
Yeah, then it's back in here.
Back into the getting to the outskirts of Ojos Negros. Remember, there's probably going to be a lot of two-way traffic in there. People going out to pre-run, coming back from pre-run. Just be respectful and don't get crazy. Don't haul the mail in there for sure.
Make sure you end your pre-run here, or you'll be going head on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to go out that way, so that's why the big caution coming in is good. It's super important to be careful through there because you will be having two-way traffic.
Copy. Yeah, I never like two-way traffic. Everybody be very careful. Follow the rules. Only pre-run where you're allowed to pre-run. Only pre-run the direction you're supposed to pre-run. Pay attention. Tell your race teams no HIDs or no LEDs or bright off-road lights on the highway when there's opposing traffic. No speeding, no passing on the blind corners. Watch out for livestock. If you think it's a bad idea, it probably is, right, Justin? I mean, we say it all the time.
You're probably too late if you're thinking it's a bad idea. That's
right.
Definitely down there. You gotta be on your toes all the time, and same. Just chase crews, pit crews, be careful, and guys in razors and all that. Just watch out for everyone else. So,
any particular questions, Fish, coming at you?
They want to know what you guys think for the overall time. What time do you think, or that the first truck's going to be done? Anybody have a guess approximately what time? 2, 3 in the morning, something like that? Who's done their math?
I haven't done final math because we haven't really looked at the whole race course as a team and sat down and broke it all down. So I don't have really that. My guess earlier was more of a pure guess based on what I had seen so far.
What's your guess for the finish? What's that, Justin?
17 and a half.
So what time? So
What time is that? That would be
What's the average mile per hour you have that at, Justin?
So that's 130, is it?
Probably a little faster, probably 17, but like 52 miles an hour.
Yeah, I've been saying that we'll be 51, 52. I've been saying just based on the speed zones and how slow some of the sections are. But like I said, we haven't seen the whole race course yet. So what time's that finish?
My guess is going to be between 12:45 and 1 a.m.
that would be fast.
Closer to the 12:45.
13 hours.
How many? What'd you say?
12:45 a.m.
That'd be
Gotcha.
14 hours.
Well, are you asking me when you guys are gonna finish or when the? See, we're talking smack already. We're talking smack.
Yeah, I really think this is a race that a bike could probably give a trophy truck a run for their money. In some of the sections, just because they can probably, they're going to have better lines through some of these rockier washes that we're rock crawling in. They'll be able to jump out and be able to straighten some of it out. So no, I don't know how that all factors in when they get to do shortcuts. How that all.
Well, the pros don't have to do any shortcuts. So you guys, as far as the overalls, you guys have the same mileage. I'm going to say it's tough for a motorcycle to keep up with the trucks these days, but
yeah.
Not counting them out. I don't know. I'm not a motorcycle.
Yeah, that was one of the rumors that had been going around that some of the pro bikes weren't doing the whole course, but that is not true. The pro bikes are doing the exact same course.
Correct.
Right? They're doing every mileage just like the trucks are. So the pro class versus the pro class, their time is going to be comparable.
Yeah. Yeah, but I put it about 52 miles an hour average.
Yeah,
Speed.
I like that. I like from what I've seen so far. I like that.
Well, there you go.
We have
been early in the morning.
What's yours, Fish?
I'm gonna go a little faster. I'm gonna go to like 58 miles an hour is my guess. I don't even know what time.
58.
Yeah.
Holy cow! When would that finish?
Take out some speed zones.
I don't know. I'm just saying. The winner is going to be done in 58 mile an hour average.
Is that speed zone on what's the speed zone speed at the up on the mountain up there?
That's a good question. I don't know. I didn't go that in depth. I'm just simply guessing. It's like you go into the lottery store to buy the thing. You just do the quick pick, right? You're not.
When was the last time we averaged those high speeds? What was the average speed at San Felipe the last couple of years? Because that's the least amount of speed zones. I bet it wasn't even 60.
No, they've been pretty high up there, haven't they? I'd have to go look. So you should have told me this before. I could have had this pulled up. I'm pretty sure the last race was closer to 60.
Going with 56 to 57. So I was.
See?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you guys are a little faster than you think.
Okay. Well, I just factor the speed zones in as being they really take the speed out of it. So
yeah.
And the amount of racing we do at night. That's, a majority of the Baja 1000 is a night race. So that automatically knocks off, a couple miles per hour.
I feel like I go faster at night. It's kind of weird.
If you guys had Baja Designs lights, you guys
do.
Go. See, look there's my sponsor plug. See?
There we go.
I'm gonna go eat my carrots so my eyes get better for the race.
Yeah, Baja Designs swept the podium last year. Just saying.
Oh, 58 miles an hour. Just watch. It's on the internet now, so we'll come back and revisit.
Yeah.
right.
So let's talk about the teams that are racing. So Justin, you got Derek's racing with you?
Yep, Derek, my prep guy, longtime friend, navigator, putting him in for 280 miles and let him have a taste of all-wheel drive truck.
Right on. Cameron, you got Ryan?
Yeah, super fortunate to have Ryan Arciero with us. He's a 3-time overall Baja 1000 winner, and he's been doing a great job with us. We have been super fortunate on this team up, and I think we have the right truck for this race and the right team for this race. And not trying to sound cocky, but I think that there's a lot of reliability in that good old Geyser 2-wheel drive that I think will be well played in this race.
And I believe the last race that he raced in, he won, correct?
That's right. He won Vegas Arena recently. And at the Baja 400, our times, if you took out our broken brake line, which of course, if only, that would have put us on the podium. So anyway, we've been running the right speed and the right pace and segments. I feel like we have a good race truck, but there's guys like Justin Lofton and Bryce Menzies and Andy McMillan and Luke McMillan and Rob McCachran and all these different guys that have something to say about it. So, I mean, when I look at it, there's probably 6, 7, 8 teams that really have the testing, the backing, the experience, the pre-running, the team knowledge. I was looking at it yesterday at our pit meeting. We had 48 people there, and it looks like we're going to have over 60 at the race. It's just amazing what it takes to do it properly.
I think we have
20 you can share.
Yeah, we could share some of them.
I was gonna say we have 120 people coming down, I think, for BFG pits.
And we do pit. I wanted to say we do pit sometimes with the BFG pits where we can align it. And we actually sometimes change our pits a little bit to mesh up with BFG because the infrastructure is incredible. The barbecue is great. Having a medic there, having lighting, having the comms, and being with our friends there at BFG is always great. So we do team up with that. But I just, my Herald, there's so many great teams. And I think that like last year's Baja 1000, there was 5 trucks hauling the mail at race mile 700. And 3 of those trucks were still hauling the mail when we got to the end. And yeah, we all had our little bits of this and that. But there's a lot of good teams. So I really think Baja decides. I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing Team Mexico. I think I wasn't expecting to see that one with Ampudia and Vildosla. I think that'll be a fun team to watch on race day.
If nothing else, their paint scheme is incredible, and both families,
very cool.
Both families represent Mexico very well. Both have won the Baja 1000 overall, so a very formidable team. Absolutely, someone that is a major contender for this win. I mean, you could call them one of the favorite for the win in some ways.
Yeah, it's that's a badass paint job they have on there. It's just a bummer that none of those panels will most likely be left at the finish line with those 2 guys driving. So
those 2 guys like to tear up
on some panels. So you know what? Those panels are going to be the coolest panels you could ever get, though. If you're a spectator, right? Like, how would you? What cooler panel could you have than that, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I will say that when we got to the finish line at last year's Baja 1000, I think Tabo had all of his panels on there, maybe one rear panel missing. But this is a different race.
Yeah,
the Baja 1000 to La Paz is a lot more roads and a lot more open. This thing is like bushwhacking galore.
Yeah,
crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of great favorite teams. I mean, hard to count out Luke and Rob, who have been doing great as well. And I think
you got Dan with Josh. That's
Daniel and Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel and Daniel.
Josh did a great job racing for us over the years, and I think he and Rob got a top 5 together, or maybe second even. So he's driven for a number of people and had great success, and he's a good wheelman. He keeps the truck on the road, and he knows how to go fast for sure. So
yeah, and the other entry to kind of watch that a lot of people might not know yet is the number 46, the Paul Wheel with Toby Price driving. It's a Mason all-wheel drive truck they bought used. So we'll see, but they're going to be those guys are both pretty fast. So that's another one to watch.
Toby's an incredible talent, everything he does. I don't know Paul really. I don't know his background, so I can't really comment, but Toby is definitely phenomenal talent all the way around. Actually, I haven't got passed by a lot of people racing trophy trucks, but Toby did go for a psycho pass move coming off the highway one time and went by me. And I was like, damn, going for it. And 2 miles later, he was parked changing a drive shaft, but it's all part and parcel to it, right? We all have our demons where we want to go fast or where we want to take chances or where we don't. So you'll see us taking our chances where no one can see. Secret.
Now, one other thing I want to remind everybody, I'm going to put this up on the screen. Everybody needs to know these numbers right here. This is the weatherman frequency, and everybody needs to write down this sat phone number. This is a sat phone, the sat 100 that the weatherman will have with him on the mountain. So write down that 562 number. In emergency, you can call that number. And we went over this on our safety special, but I did just want to make sure for anybody that maybe didn't watch that, these 2 numbers right here could save your life. So write those down, put them in your chase crew, with the chase crew in the pit books. And that is how to get a hold of the weatherman on the VHF and on a sat phone, from in the middle of anywhere. So if you guys have a problem and it's emergency, call. You can also text. If it's not quite an emergency, you can also text that number. So just wanted to make sure we went over that one more time.
I think the number one message is make good decisions. Don't take chances. Be safe, because a win for any race team is everybody coming home safe, and everybody around you being safe. So that's all you can really tell your teams and fans and everybody. Be safe. Stay off the race course. Don't make bad decisions, and come home with a smile on your face, whether you won or not. And hopefully everybody gets the trophy they're looking for or that they've earned.
Yep.
I think it's time to wrap it up, Fish. What do you think? Let's go with Justin Lofton first on wrap-up comments. Thoughts, comments, Justin?
I think it's going to be a great race, and we're having a lot of fun. Big thank you to Score and, of course, Nate for going out there and marking all of it, and all the course markers out there, all the volunteers, and we'll see everyone in Baja.
Right on, Justin. Nate, closing thoughts from you as we get close to the 55th running of the Baja 1000?
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I think there's a lot of great momentum going into this race. Hopefully everyone is safe. We come out of this with great momentum going into next year, which is the 50th SCORE season. 50 years that SCORE's been running these races, and they have some really cool plans next year. I've heard some really cool stuff that's going to be happening next year with obviously everybody's heard about the Baja 1000 course going from La Paz to Ensenada. Like it or not, it's going to happen, and it's going to be something different, new, something to celebrate the 50th year of SCORE. And there's some really, really cool plans, including Sal Fish coming to every single race next year. I believe he's going to be the Grand Marshal for all 4 races next year. So if that alone is pretty cool to me. I love spending time with that guy, but a lot of momentum going into next year, and I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited about the entry list. I know you talked about the trophy trucks that have entered, but there's a crap ton of spec trucks, UTVs, a lot of great entries, even class 1's up this year. Hopefully we can keep building that. And I can't wait for next year. I can't wait for this race. And well, it's a week away. It's going to be fun. So let's go have a blast and carry this momentum into next year and make the sport of off-road racing even greater.
I agree, Nate. Well said. I'm looking forward to it. Imagine my surprise is sitting next to the Godfather Sal Fish at the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame banquet. That was pretty cool. Fish, what do you think, buddy? It's getting closer.
Well, yeah, this is the big one. I mean, everybody waits all year for the Baja 1000, right? Even if you don't race, you know what the Baja 1000 is. Everybody knows who Ivan Stewart is. Everybody knows the Baja 1000. So this is it. Everybody, just like you said, go have fun, but be safe. It's not worth it, if somebody doesn't come back. That just ruins the whole thing. So go be safe, have fun. And I'm looking forward to it. I will be live every hour, all night long. Like always, this race sucks for covering it because it's so long. But yeah, it'll be fun. We'll be up all night. I think my updates are going to be on the SCORE stream also, so that'll be pretty cool. Something a little new for this race. So you'll see definitely lots of updates. If anybody, as always, this is all because of you guys. If you guys are watching this and you're down at the race and you have some information or a picture or video, send it over. That's how I get everything. I'm up here in San Diego doing this. I'm not on the race course. You guys are. So you guys are spectating. Send your info over. That's what makes this all so cool, is the info that I get from all you guys. So big thanks to everybody who always sends me stuff during the race, especially at night. It's hard to get stuff at night, but even if you have split times or any information you have, feel free, send it over, and it's always appreciated.
Right on. Well, thank you for everything you do, Fish. Thank you to everybody that watched. Remember, the Fishgistics safety show with Jose G and with Scott Steinberger and a couple of others is live on the Fishgistics Facebook and YouTube. That's going to do it. Opinions thrown out here. You guys make your own decisions and have fun, be safe, and let's go do this Baja 1000. God bless everybody. Have a great race.